Hello, and welcome to Brownlee LLP's video presentation on defenses under the Alberta Municipal Government Act and best practices to defend claims against municipalities. My name is Nabil Pir Mohammed, and I am a partner with Brownlee LLP. With me is one of our associates, Drew Wilson. We have both been successful in defending municipalities in trial. We will describe our recommendations for best practices that municipalities can implement to bolster the defense against these types of claims for personal injury and property damage. Let's hear from Drew about his case.
I'll be presenting the case of Ellis L Bridge, where I successfully defended the municipality at trial. In this case, the plaintiff attended the Dragon Boat Festival held in one of the municipality's parks. This is one of the city's largest events and includes multiple beer gardens. Unfortunately, the plaintiff stepped into a slightly sunken sprinkler head as she was walking in the beer gardens, causing her to fracture her ankle. She sued the city under the Occupiers Liability Act for creating an unsafe environment. The main issue in this case was whether the city was liable for breaching the Occupiers Liability Act, notwithstanding the statutory protections it has pursuant to the Municipal Government Act, specifically Section 530. Section 530 says a municipality is not liable for damage caused by a system of inspection and maintenance, the manner in which this inspections and maintenance is performed, or the frequency, infrequency, or absence of those inspections and maintenance. Another issue in this case was that there were 2,000 sprinkler heads for that park alone, and the city argued that to hold it accountable for one sunken sprinkler head would be essentially holding the city to a standard of perfection. Occupiers are not insurers or guarantors of safety, and while they are expected to keep the premises reasonably safe, they will only be held to a standard of reasonableness, not perfection. The city also argued that it had a reasonable system of maintenance and inspection in place to satisfy an occupier's duty and excuse them from a finding of negligence under the Occupiers Liability Act. The city's system included the park's staff manual, which demanded any sunken sprinkler head observed to be raised by hand. Further, all employees were instructed each morning at tailgate meetings to be vigilant throughout their shift for sunken sprinkler heads and raise them if spotted. However, employees were not required to check each sprinkler head individually. The court disagreed with this argument and found that the city did not meet the required standard of an occupier given the plaintiff fell inside the beer garden area. The court held that this was an area of high foot traffic area and each sprinkler head for that area specifically should have been inspected to ensure it had not sunk. While the whole park may have had 2,000 sprinkler heads total, the beer garden area had much less. Further, the fact that the Dragon Boat Festival is also one of the city's largest events with high attendance rates also placed a higher standard on the city according to the court. That all said though, the court found that Section 530 of the Municipal Government Act immunized the city from liability under the Occupiers Liability Act. According to the court, Section 530 of the Municipal Government Act provides immunity from liability for damages related to the system of maintenance and inspection it has chosen to implement. So here the court found that the city's system of inspection did not meet the required standard of care under the Occupiers Liability Act. However, this breach of the standard of care arose from the system of inspection and maintenance the city implemented, thereby triggering its immunity pursuant to Section 530. Accordingly, Section 530 was held to prevail over the breaches of the Occupiers Liability Act and provide the city immunity from all liability related to its system of maintenance and inspection. Accordingly, the plaintiff's claim was dismissed. Let's hear from Nabil about his case.
I was also successful at trial defending a municipality in the case of Pulkinen and Crow's Nest Pass. In that case, the plaintiffs suffered flood damage to their residents on 3 separate occasions due to heavy rainfall. They argued the damage was due to a sunken curb in front of their neighbor's property, which was allegedly installed in a deficient manner and poorly maintained by the municipality. The municipality went to the property after each incident and determined the minor nature of the sunken curb was not a priority under the maintenance program. It decided no repair would be conducted. As a result, the plaintiffs sued for property damage from the last rainfall flooding incident. The primary issue in this case was whether the municipality was liable for the sunken curb. The plaintiffs alleged that the municipality had breached its duties under the Occupiers Liability Act for failing to implement a reasonable system of inspection and maintenance. However, the municipality presented evidence about its system of inspection and maintenance. Specifically, the municipality performs an annual assessment under its annual replacement program. This particular curb had been examined before the heavy rainfall incident, but it was not deemed to be in a substantial state of disrepair. There was minimal settlement in the curb, and thus there would be no repair. Each time the curb was inspected, it was always considered minor, and a policy decision was made not to allocate financial resources to its repair. Other areas of the municipality required attention and allocation of financial resources. That decision set up the evidence for a policy defense, for which there is no liability. The court also relied on the Ellis case, described by Drew, and held that various sections of the Municipal Government Act provided immunity to the municipality, including Section 530, which we have previously discussed, and Section 533A, which says a municipality is not liable for damages caused by a curb. The court held that the Ellis case and these sections of the Municipal Government Act were determinative and immunized the municipality from any liability arising from any alleged breaches of the Occupiers Liability Act. There was also no liability specific to damage caused by a sunken curb, given the wording of Section 533A of the Municipal Government Act. Accordingly, the plaintiff's claim was dismissed.
From a risk management perspective, we can see from these two cases that there are two main best practices to be followed by municipalities. First, it is important to implement and adhere to a written system of inspection and maintenance evidenced by detailed logs so as to establish defenses under the Occupiers Liability Act and the Municipal Government Act. We have seen there is no liability arising from the frequency or manner of those inspections and maintenance activities, like in the Ellis case. However, there should be some documented evidence to show those policies were followed on a regular basis, especially during high traffic events.
Second, it is important to have a policy that determines the priority of the allocation of financial resources. This policy provides the evidence for a potential policy defense for which there is no liability. Just like in the Pulkkinen case described earlier, the municipality's annual replacement program for curbs provided the evidence for its defense. We hope you have found our presentation informative and helpful. If you have any questions or would like to discuss further, please contact us. Here is our information. We look forward to hearing from you. Goodbye for now.